All right, everybody, this is prototype talk here, but this is what we've envisioned for a OG-DI system with mounts for pressure washers. So we're going to take you through this today. I'm going to hold close to the vest here some of the actual minutia, some of the details here as we get closer to production. We're probably a few months out. I want to do some really sophisticated testing on the different types of DI resin, whether we do mixed bed, there's a high-end mixed bed, a medium-end mixed bed, a low-end mixed bed, or if we do cation versus anion, or we do them in parallel or series. And so we were just actually talking about this, getting a big tank, a 500-gallon tank, and running water through. My TDS is about 250, 260. Running water through and see which type of bed setup works best. But we're going to take you through. Mike's going to install. This is the this is the very first dual setup we've done. We did Fred's garage temporarily, but I'm going to really beat the crap out of this thing and see if we, see what works, what doesn't, if there's any leaks or any things that we need to address or adjust. And you're going to have to be patient. I think you'd rather me figure out, any potential problems rather than me sending it out to you. I know many of you are super excited about getting this. We're also going to build some systems for how to swap out your CR spotless for this. I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out, but I think this is going to be the ticket. So check out the video.
Makeup lady, do I look all right? All right, so let's get to it. So what I'm going to do today is uninstall my installation because we're going to do the dual OG-DI pressure washer solution. So I have to remove these shelves to make room for it because each one of the cabinets it's now still in the prototype phase, but they're 18 inches wide. We're going to set two of them together and they'll be run probably in parallel. And that will mean that each pressure washer will have its own DI. It'll come together and create basically a 4 gallon a minute deionized solution. These pressure washers are going to mount on our DI system. So we're working on two different types. DI only, which is its own cabinet, standalone, and then another cabinet which has built-in shelves. So I'm going to take all this off the wall. I'm going to try to reuse these outlets for now because I don't know that he's going to permanently want his dual set up the way we're going to do it. It's for test purposes. So I'm going to leave these here for now, remove everything, get our new prototypes installed, get them plumbed together. Fortunately, we have more than 36 inches between the inlet and this bucket filler, the hose bib. It ends right about here, so that gives us still room for our buckets and all that. So I guess I'm gonna start tearing it apart. Shouldn't take very long. Probably it took me many hours to install, but it'll probably take me 30 minutes to take it all off. Unfortunately. So I do have a shut-off valve out here to isolate the system. I tapped into the water out here, so I'll turn that ball valve off, which will isolate both this inlet here and the hose bib, then I can pull everything apart. Nice. So I think we'll just, what do you say? This is probably a good time for a time lapse, huh, Michael?
I think so, Mike.
And then we'll go back after probably tomorrow when the installation and pick up from there, huh?
That sounds good.
Okay. My name's Steve, by the way.
Oh, yes.
If you've watched the cabinet video, I'm Steve.
Yes.
I've been going by Mike for a long time, but
Steve Canadian equals Mike US.
Okay, all right, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna get taken it apart. How about that? Got everything uninstalled. So what I had to do obviously is everything was mounted to the wall, so I went ahead and skim coated all my holes that I had. So this is still going to remain our inlet water to the DI system. And then our hose bib luckily remains where it is. So we have more than the 36 inches required for these two to set here. So the cabinet will go from here to right about here, just enough for a bucket to fit next to the cabinet here and be right in the center of the hose bib. So obviously our pressure washers, rather than being on top of each other, are now going to be next to each other. So I'm going to have to get those set up and kind of get a feel for how I want the hoses to route. I kind of have it in my mind how I want to do it, but until I get everything set in place, get the pressure washers up here, and then I can figure out how I want the hoses to route, because they ultimately have to come out of the pressure washers. I'll probably run this one behind this one, and then they'll both come down and into the valve here, then out of the bottom of the T into the hose reel. The way we're running these are in parallel. So rather than water coming in, going through this one, and then going out and going through this one, and then feeding both pressure washers, what we're doing is feeding them both in parallel, and they both come up and we'll feed the pressure washers. So each pressure washer will have its own DI. I'm excited to get it installed and see how it works. Yeah, and it's got leveling feet on it right now. We do have a cleat system that you can install on the back side to screw it to mount it to the wall, so that way it's very rigid against the wall and can't tip. If you're gonna roll slowly so you don't splatter everywhere, because the faster you roll, you get roll splatter. So you go nice and slow, you won't do that very much.
Gotcha.
And then
What do you do when you get that little, you see that thickness there?
just go right over it again. And I like to feather the edges off like that. Yeah. Riveting content, Maddie. We're actually going to film paint drying. What am I wearing? I'm wearing a Colette Davis OG collaboration shirt, Mike.
That's a new shirt?
No, this is not new. I had this when we did the OG and LZ and Colette Davis collaboration.
Nice. I think those shirts are actually on sale. Right?
They are on sale, yeah. You're right, we have some. You should get one, Mike.
I think the people.
You weren't allowed to have one.
No.
So now you can get one. But we do have some.
Maybe the people should help us out and go buy some.
Yeah, people should help us out and buy some. Is that what you just said, Mike?
Yeah, I think so.
Am I repeating you? I'm a parrot. Okay, so yes, go get some. I don't know which ones we have. I think we probably have this one.
Yeah.
There's this one and there's a pink one, I think.
Yeah,
That's Matt's favorite.
Yeah, he likes that one.
Okay, so I had to just snug some fittings up, but we're ready to get it installed. So what I think I'm going to do first is this is our incoming water here. So I'm going to get these fittings in here for our incoming water supply. I've got I have these to put on. So I have a nipple to put in, and then a 1/2 inch by 3/4 adapter to go into another 3/4 inch nipple, which will thread into this stainless steel 90. So this is going to come out like this, and then we're going to put a QD here so that we can easily connect and disconnect the incoming water line that feeds here. And then I'll have another 90 there, which I thought we had a street L, but we do not. So I have another nipple that I have to put on here, so that this will basically come like this down into that fitting down there. Does that make sense? But it'll be turned, probably be something like this. So why I'm using the pipe sealant is I don't want to over tighten these things, and it also lubricates the threads so they don't gall, especially on stainless. It's nice to have. Teflon tape's great. If you get it really tight, it's not going to leak, but this adds another layer of, not protection, but it helps sealing so it doesn't leak. And with stainless steel, if it galls, it's sometimes hard to get apart, and if it galls tightening, it'll give you a false sense that it's tight when it's really not. So it's just for extra security that I'm not going to get leaks, Mike. Okay. But what I do is I do that, and then I'll like this, and then I'll clean the joint with a rag. So there's just a little bit visible, not much. You know you've done well when you hear the whisper good, you know? Yeah, where is it hitting? It's not even hitting this, actually. Oh, I see, it's contacting right here. But there's nothing we can do about it. This is where it's going. So I could get a different door and have it swing this way, but.
I mean, it actually did hit the other setup too.
I know it did. It hit up higher. Yeah, the blind smacked it right here. Yeah, but there's nothing we can do because this is where it's got to go. So, all right, so we're good here. I'm happy with that. This is where we're gonna go. We just need to maintain room for a 24-inch shelf minimum. So this is probably 25, 26 inches. We have 26 and an eighth. So we can easily get 24-inch shelves in here. Now we're gonna check to make sure this thing is plumb. Let me grab a level. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use these, I'm gonna hide these behind the pressure washer. So I'm gonna use, these are cabinet screws, 4-inch cabinet screws. So I'm gonna, there's a stud there, so I'll put one back here, down low, drill a hole pre-drill, and put another one on this stud. That'll keep it secure against the wall. We do have a cleat system that's also gonna come with it. But I'm opting to do this because we've got it fully assembled and to lift it on a cleat. Singularly, I could do that, but it's rather heavy right now. So I'm just gonna do this. And I think this is a fine solution. So let me grab the level and make sure they're plumb. Look at that, perfect. Wow, that's luck.
Yeah, somebody made a comment in a recent video.
I know, that's why I'm saying that. Because someone did comment that, I don't see any bruises on you either, Mike.
Yeah, I feel okay.
You feel okay? I did read that. Yeah, where do people get this stuff? I don't know. 32 and 7/16, which is right there. Okay. All right, I like it. You know what, Mike? There is an item we have in this garage that I actually installed that will work well for cleanup.
Oh, really?
We actually sell this, Mike. Product placement number 2 for the day. The hide-a-hose system. Lock her in, turn her on.
That's next.
It is, Mike. You know you've made it when you have a hide-a-hose system in your garage, Mike. That's pretty good, Mike. And then you just do this, unlock it. And then when you shut the door, it shuts off. Because there's a little trick, a little thing on the, I'll show you. See that right there, a little tabaroo right there? It shuts off that micro switch, which turns it off. See? You don't have to turn it off first. It's all automated, Mike. Mm-hmm. You look extra cool. Just do a little flipperoo and you're good. All right. So now it's in, it's plumbed, it's anchored. Now we can start doing the fun stuff. So I'm gonna do the closest pressure washer first, this side, because the other one, the cord is now too short since we've changed our setup from stacked to side by side. So let me grab one of these. All right, so see if the cord's gonna reach. It's definitely gonna reach. Okay, so this one's fine. So I'll probably go ahead and use the bottom one for this one. Okay, like that. Let me get the other part of the QD on here. All right, so now we put our other end of the QD on our 3/4 inch female pipe to 3/4 GHT male adapter. Okay, and it just looks like that. There we go. So that one's plumbed. And then obviously our high pressure discharge will come down and into our valve system here. So now the next question is, how is this one gonna work? Because we have, this one's probably gonna have to shift that way because the discharge may end up hitting this pump here. All right, let me get the other one. Now the other one I'm definitely gonna have to change the cord on. It's not gonna be long enough, I don't think. It's definitely not actually. Okay, so our inlet hose, no problem. That's gonna work out fine. But as you can see, the way they are side by side, there's not much room here to put our quick disconnect. There's no room for the hose. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a couple of 3/8 high pressure 90s on the end of the hose. So I have those right here. Quick disconnect, it's female, it'll thread onto this male 90, and that way it'll snap on like that and the hose can come out, or actually I'll probably do it to the back, bring both hoses down back behind, down into our valves here. So I may have to move this a little more this way, but I think I can make this work because we have to have this adapter on. But I think this will work. Just so, yeah, we'll be fine. Mike, I think I'm gonna be, luck would have it that I think I can put the valves here and put this into the hose reel right there.
Oh, nice.
Shoot, done.
Plug and play.
All right. Okay, Mike, so as I said, we've got our 90 on now, and ended up using that. We had some male that goes into this female QD, and then the female on this end of the 90 accepts the 3/8 end of our high pressure hose. So now you can see I've got clearance. Put the 90 on the other side there. So now we have clearance here, and then I'll mount the valve assembly here. It looks like everything that I had for the previous setup is going to work just fine for here. I'll put the valve right there. This end of the hose will go into the right into the bottom of the end of the side of the hose reel. So I'll mount the reel next. The other thing I have to do is I brought another cord. So this cord now being too short because the pressure washer's on the right instead of over top, I can't use this cord. I want to plug into that one there, but obviously that's not going to reach. So I will pull the cover off and lengthen the cord. All right, so I installed the factory cord back onto the machine. So now I'll get this in place. We'll get an exact cord length. I'll end up cutting this off, putting our right angle plug on it, and plugging it into our GFCI. Being as this is our prototype, we can make changes, assess what we like and don't like, and then modify accordingly. So we'll make it right there. Okay, people have seen me do this plenty of times. Now I'm not saying it does void warranty, doesn't void warranty, but it is a modification, so be aware that you're and the reason we're still protected because I installed GFCI receptacles, which offers the same protection, but I don't know how this or whether it does affect warranty on the unit or not. So modify at your own risk. Not that it's going to damage your unit, but anytime you modify, I guess it gives a manufacturer a reason to say, well, you know, you were in here, you did some things, how do we know it's not something you did? So I'm comfortable with doing it. I'm not worried about it, but if you're one of those people that really is concerned about warranties, then maybe you should wind your cord up behind the unit and do that instead. Just like when you work on your car, right, Mike? You modify it, the dealer says, ooh, I'm sorry, you put exhaust on your car. So I'm sorry, the fact that your visor's not working, that's, you're screwed. Yeah, you modified the car. Not that Krensla's like that. It's there, and then we tighten the strain relief to make sure the cord's centered. There's a little saddle that it sits in, so center it in there. Kind of hold it with your fingers and then tighten it down. Okay, nice. I mean, ideally this receptacle would have been here, but these were pre-installed for the other system, so I'm using what I have. I would prefer it being right here, but it's okay.
You really can't see it.
No, it's
Right.
yeah, it's out of sight really. So okay, so there's that. So electrical's done. So now all I have to do is mount the valves and probably get a. Well, let's mount the reel next. Match the DI system. Yeah, definitely want the hand crank on the right. I was thinking out loud because we're going to put shelves here and I don't want the handle hitting the shelves, but I think we're going to be all right. I mean, I don't know what this center to center is. It looks like it's 16 though. Yeah, I think that was discussed. Let me just check it with the tape measure really quick and I'll tell you. Yeah, it's 16. So yes, that would work for that.
Nice.
Well, the beauty of it is, let's say you had it mounted on a wall, on your side wall, your garage.
Yeah.
You can swing it out and then unroll your hose out towards the driveway, because this locks. If you notice, it's got an arm on it that locks the reel at 90 degrees.
Yeah, or if, let's say, he was coming outside this door.
Yeah, this isn't the ideal location for one. The swing out, the reason we did swing out on this was so that we can remove the cartridge to change the resin, because if the reel's in the way, you would never get this out. So now, the other thing too is this reel's height adjustable, so I think we want it right flush with the top. And the bottom, I think, is where it looks best, right there, which is right in the middle of the slots. Got the reel on, so I'm gonna go ahead and install the hose. This is our, this is an OG hose. This is pliability. The jacket is very nice. I like the color, but I think pliability is really where it's at. It's very pliable, and I like the jacket is where it's at. Obviously, it's rated for more than well in excess of what we're using it for, but yeah, I just like it a lot. So now what I'm going to do is rewrap this. I'm going to take this old tape off, rewrap it with some new tape. Oftentimes this is an exercise in futility, but I don't like taping over old tape. I like to get it all off first. You just have to lead it with your left hand as you wind with your right. You have to make sure that you're kind of just a little over like this. So this hose here is scooting the one to the right in place, I guess you'd say. But yeah, you just can't go fast. I mean, you can. It doesn't really matter, except it's the aesthetics of having a nicely coiled reel. It sure looks nice. Might be okay. So I'm just looking at hose length here. What I may want to do, I think this is going to go right here, and I think this hose length is going to be just fine, just like that. Yeah. Oh, really lucked out there. Yeah, that's what it was. Let's go with that.
Ain't got no coffee machines here, Mike. All I got is a Keurig.
Keurig is not good.
And some Folgers.
Oh, geez, you double whammy there. Double whammy. She's not very sophisticated with her coffee preferences. If Matt drank coffee, the setup would be epic. I guarantee you. Yeah, I think he would just love to have everything, even if he didn't drink it, just to have it all there and to be able to prepare a coffee for somebody. Experience, user experience.
It's all about that. Yeah, the setup's growing on me here. Good.
All right, so I think that's how we're gonna go right there. All our lengths are correct?
I like that.
Yes. So we have some self-tapping screws, self-drilling, self-tapping, better known as tech screws. I'm sure Matt has some.
It's been a very chill install.
It has been. It's been very, no drama. Been drama-free. No, I would prefer not to. What I want to do is I want to get this T centered as close as I can in the middle. So I'm going to put some tape on there to mark that so that I have a visual reference to where center line is. That's good. Okay. I mean, it's super solid. Maybe the anti-vibration clamps are the answer, but I just think a clamp that was specifically designed, although the clamps would probably be $50 each. But yeah, I think so. Let me get the vacuum. Well, Mike, I want to be honest, installation's complete. All we really need to do now is turn on the TDS meters and fill the cartridge with resin. So the thought here is this is how this is supposed to work. This swings out of the way. You pull this ring out and then you pull out the cartridge. So we're gonna do that next. Got to go get a second cartridge down at OG. We'll get these filled. We'll turn the water on, check for leaks, and we're good to go.
What do you think so far?
I like it. It's clean, huh? It does look really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no real issues with it whatsoever. I mean, this is our prototype, so I will say the only thing I noticed was this pin. It's not quite long enough, so we can change that, make that upgrade.
This install is easier or quicker than?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, certainly. Absolutely. Especially for a single pressure washer, it'd be really easy because you're just basically, this would come all assembled. All you really would do is bolt your reel on, set your pressure washer on the shelf. The jumper hose and everything would be the correct length right from the get-go. All you have to do is supply it with power and water. So I think it'd be easy. All right, so let's go get our other cartridge and we can fill them with resin and turn it on.
Good. That's his half. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then we would flip it. And that should be. Yep. That's good.
It's weird how it's reading higher on the outgoing than incoming.
Yeah.
It does sound different though, not mounted on a wall, mounted on these
Maybe,
metal.
yeah.
It sounds a little more.
250 down to 0, Zippo.
It's good.
So, what is that telling us? 100%.
I think
That means that
percent refers to how
how well it's working.
Yeah.
So,
like,
as this drops, this number will go up and this will stay higher. This will be like at 70%, 80%, so on, right?
So if we go here, and it should show.
Yep.
Yep. Went right up to incoming, outgoing match.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah, no leaks. Everything works. So now you get to try it out.
It looks way better
Pretty busy,
loaded up. Yeah, it looks great like that. Without anything on, it looks a little,
A little too much.
but now it looks appropriate. This is my 25 degree. It's like a wall of business right there.
Wall of business. Yeah, we just need to get you 2 more.
Yeah, so 5 pumpkins.
Get put drying aid.
All right, so now we've got the system done. The way that this system is set up is each tank is feeding, so one tank is feeding 1322 number 1, the other tank is feeding 1322 number 2. I don't know if that's the best way to set it up, but we're gonna play with that. You know, we could theoretically take the 2 tanks, put them in parallel and have it feed, the incoming line to the pressure washer. But the way it's set up now, we have a single tank, single pressure washer. So if I'm going to run a single pressure washer, I would put a 4.0 nozzle on it and run a single tank. The Crenzos are set up with our really expensive T316 flex lines. And then internally here, you can see our Continental Frontier hose stuff. Again, I'll get into more detail as we get closer to launching this, but I'm going to keep some of this stuff a little closer to the vest as we kind of work through getting this to production. This is pre-production. You have our crinkle black hose reel, and what I may try to do, I'm thinking about this right now as I'm talking to you guys, we may send this to our manufacturer and see if maybe they can match all this. It's really close. The sort of the crinkle or the powder coating here is a little bit tighter on the cocks than it is on our setup here. our muse for this was the finish on MSS Plus is like world class, and so we wanted to have a sort of a satin-ish crinkle coated powder coat for this setup as well. So then the backsplash here, this on the dual setup, we lose some of the functionality because of the valves and having having to put 2 pressure washers. But theoretically, we do have some shelf mount positions, because if you were going to do, say we were going to do high flow RO, do a 3rd tank or a 4th tank, we wanted to have this set up where you could do some shelving. And then don't judge us on these shelves. These are prototype number 1, where they just cut and shaved, and we were toying with the idea of floating shelves versus regular. The valves here are not in the way of they're out of the way of our ability to turn our hose reel to the side. Now, let's say that your DI system was mounted, or if let's say it was mounted here, and I wanted to turn the hose reel at a certain angle to be able to run out the door. Obviously, it doesn't help me in this case. So the point of having the hose reel articulate is so I can take the top piece off here and then get my filter out. Because the filter cartridge, we'll show you more detail on that in the future, but the filter cartridge comes out and needs room to come out at a 15-degree angle or something like that. But there's other purposes. We're going to launch this articulating hose reel mount. It's also set up to mount on studs. So this particular mount will help us there. OG spec Gates hose. So actually, this is DI on. Say DI off. Wait, how do we do it? No, DI off, DI on. So we're gonna have to label this here, because otherwise it gets confusing. The simple way to do it is to just look at the TDS meter, and it'll tell you if it's on or off. But this comes from the Brizo, my toilet paper holder. That's why I got the design for this thing here. We have a cap that we're going to make it clean, but this is a 304 stainless, handle, which is really cool. And then we have our HM Digital gauges, which tells you TDS incoming and TDS outgoing. And theoretically, as soon as it eclipses 0, you would replace your resin. But what I'm going to do next, our next setup here, one is to play with this thing, but the intent here, the design of this, is that you can easily replace the resin. We're hoping to pass, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 gallons of water, depending on what your TDS level is. But what I want to do next is to do some really sophisticated testing to give you, instead of just making up a bunch of bull crap, we're going to try to figure out what's the best bed of resin. What's the best combination? Is it series? Is it parallel? Is it cation in one and is it anion in the other? What can I get out of a single tank versus dual tank versus triple tank? So we're going to test all that stuff out. So then the rest of our setup here, our hose bib, in a perfect world, I'd move it over. But it kind of turned out nice here. This is our prototype also of our holder for our gun and wand, where you have dual foam cannon setup, dual nozzle setup here, and then we'll have threaded inserts here on our DI system. Mine didn't work out where I could put it on the side, but again, we were taking an existing system and then retrofitting. Most of you are buying this from scratch. The beauty of this is the install. If you had a plumber stub it out, and if you had an electrician pre-wire you, the install, after you chase a few leaks here and there, is like couple hours instead of a week, when you're cutting drywall and putting blocking in and doing all kinds of extra work. So it could be super helpful for us there. So now I have room for 2 more foam cannons. I gotta figure out what I would use that for. But anyway, I like my setup here. I'm really pleased at how it turned out. So more to come. We'll be sure to share you the testing that we come up with. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more. What I think we'll probably do is, maybe what we'll do in the future is we'll do like some sort of inside the hex first 50, become our beta testers and try to break it, figure out what needs to be improved before we send this out in the wild for everybody who may not be as sophisticated. So we've got a little more work to do here, but I think we're off to a really good start. This is a long time coming. So thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. And stay tuned for more updates on this when we have them. See you soon.